What's up, everybody? Logan coming at you guys today with another video. And I know it's been a month since I've been away. I went to Colorado for 2 weeks, spent some time away from my phone, and then I also took a trip to New York and spent a lot of time there. So that was a lot of fun. Uh, Various reasons for doing both of those things. But overall, today it's nice out, 50 degrees. I do want to go over the stock I've been playing around with a little bit. Got the Jesus chain on, you already know. And I've actually been watching this Andrew Huberman on like what alcohol does to your body, brain, and health, because I'm gonna go 180 days without alcohol. But so hopefully you guys could leave a like for that, if anything, in this video today. But we're gonna talk about New York Community Bank stock. So I actually got called by one of my buddies who used to work for one of these companies that are related to New York Community Bank. They had like a merger or they had some sort of acquirement. He said, of course, that's up for debate, specifically for what term you want to use for that. So I tossed 20 G's into Robinhood. And then also I have my public account as well. Public tossed me some money because I have a partnership with them this year. So I'm very excited to talk about that at some point too down the road. But I did end up tossing $200 into this morning as well. Market's still climbing. There's a lot of news coming out, right, about New York Community Bank. So at the moment, we're up about $1,000 on the shares. Picked them up this morning at 378, as you can see, right? I do have a sell order already placed. If we click on that, you guys can see it was submitted today, the same day I bought the shares. I don't really care if it gets sold today or not, but 550 is kind of my price right now. I think $6 honestly is probably an even better price, but I just like to pull. And if you guys look at like this last week, it was $6. So I think, there's some room for some sort of a bounce to get back up there, if anything. But even look at the selling from $10 all the way down in the last like 7 days to where we hit that low around where I copped some of these shares. We've started that push back up a little bit. And then you guys can see, of course, my position here. We can go to my overall portfolio. Public sent me about $500. I made a couple bad options trades with just a little bit of money, but have been starting up a little portfolio with it. And you can see here I'm up about $40 or 20% on these shares, which I just got about 54 of them over here. But like I said, we can click on this. We can kind of read and get a better understanding of what this company does. Essentially, there's a lot going on, right, at this moment. And they have a really strong balance sheet. And this is why I kind of like this stock a little bit more for a short-term trade, because I don't feel like I'd get stuck bag holding. And then also, I did just over $5,000. So it's not like, to me, an amount of money that would absolutely devastate me if I lost it, right? That's one of those things, or lost any portion of it, which is something that's very important mentally as a trader, right? We are dealing with some commercial real estate problems at this moment. So New York Community Bancorp has been looking to shed problem commercial real estate from its books after last week reporting a surprising $185 million loss relating to a pair of loans as part of its fourth quarter earning results. Now, granted, this company was also worth about $10 billion at the time and has now dropped to about that $3 to $4 billion spot in total market cap. So you're seeing quite a bit of selling. The lender has offered investors a chance to bid on a $22.4 million mortgage backed by three five-story walk-up apartment buildings in Washington Heights, a neighborhood in northern Manhattan, according to details of the offering viewed by MarketWatch. The debt backs mostly rent-regulated apartments and affiliated mixed-use space. The mortgage matured in early January with the full amount of the debt now due, plus interest at a 20% default rate, according to the offering. Other landlords in the neighborhood have, subject to New York City's rent regulation laws, which were strengthened in 2019, have seen property values tumble by almost 50%, according to Bloomberg News. We're going to drop down a little bit. The lender has a large exposure to rent-regulated multifamily properties in New York City, about a 1.8 billion office building exposure in the city, and about 250 to 300 million in maturities in the next few years, according to Dutch bank researchers. Pressures facing the bank are reigniting fears about regional banks and their commercial real estate exposure. Moody's Investors Service downgraded their stock by 2 notches into junk status. We took decisive actions to fortify our balance sheet and strengthen our risk management processes during the fourth quarter. Their president and chief executive officer said in a statement following the downgrade. For me, this to me is just a really good sale on this stock. And this is something I normally wouldn't invest in, although I do like regional banks and I do love the financial sector. I usually do a lot with tech. And, because you can see those 20% returns and all of that, messing with tech and trading tech a little bit more. But what I like about them is just how strong their balance sheet is, right? The only thing that's not the best, of course, you guys can see here, their market cap's down to 3 billion from where it was close to about 10 at the time. Of course, our price to earnings ratio is super low, but we have a super high debt to equity ratio. Now, granted, this is a bank, so banks tend to have higher debt to equity ratios than most companies, but this is a little high. So that's something to keep in mind as well. But I am doing this trade based off of a little bit of fundamental analysis and a little bit of technical analysis where I set a price target, try to capture some sort of return. So we're about $1 away from hitting my profit target. We just passed $1,000 return on the day, which is nice. But like I said, I already put that limit sell in. I got 1,345 shares on this going. I should have got more. I was going to do 10 grand, but I was like, we'll dip our toes in first and see if it continued to fall, which it did. But then I was like, I'm going to wait and spend some more time. That's pretty much everything I wanted to say today about this stock though. But you guys can take a look here. They also do pay a dividend. I'm not sure if they're going to keep that or not. And I honestly don't know if I plan on holding this stock long enough to collect some sort of a dividend payment, but it was $10 to $11 a share. They paid, I think it was an annualized 68 cents per share that you own. So I'd actually be kind of shocked if, of course, they keep it at that. If the actual industry, if we start to see commercial loans like get strangled and struggle and all of that throughout this next year and into the next year as well, into 2025. So I'm keeping my head on a swivel for that stuff at this point. But I'm also a big fan. If you guys watch the channel quite a bit, anytime you get like a bad downgrade, I love getting in when, those big companies are like, we're downgrading the stock, and then everybody gets crushed like 70%, right? Their stock's down from 10 grand to 3 grand. I like to get in then and then try to ride any sort of return or bounce back up, and try to collect as much capital as I can out of that. Because I honestly believe that there's a lot of crooked people in the industry who that's their whole goal is to like put everybody into their uncle point. Like, I got to get out of this. I can't handle it. They dump all their stock. These articles come out saying, dump it. This is a junk. And then those are the same people that are buying down here before it rips up like 20%, And like I said, my buddy just follows the stock. He has a lot of good friends that own a lot of shares of it. And for me, like he just said, hey, this is something you should pay attention to. So I was like, all right, I'll come and check it out. And I just decided to get in today. And I really haven't even had it on my radar, but I do like to watch the financial stock sector. I've owned quite a bit of small regional banks throughout my time in the markets, but overall, like just a really nice rally, and hopefully this does continue. If not, though, of course, like I'll look at adding more shares, but I also don't mind like a quick flip for, I think that would be like $2,100 or something in profit if I get out at 550. So kind of looking at that. And then of course we have our position over here on public as well. Super excited to see where the stock goes. Of course we have that little high risk indicator. The implied volatility is super high right now. I mean, anytime you see a stock, and if we look at the last year, I mean, that's just ugly, 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 ugly. Like that was when I got to New York too. It was the day that this thing started to plummet. So if only I had known, right? At that time, shoot, I would have started shorting some shares and then flipped everything to the bullish side down here. But I mean, you guys know how it goes. You just buy low, get rid of it up high. It's a very simple concept. Like if you're buying up on things that are just running away from you, like it's best to leave those go. There's always opportunity everywhere in this market. So I might hold on to these shares a little bit longer because it's only $200. Pretty much risking like $5,300 if I could make like, you know, a $2,500 in total. That would be a good goal for me. But yeah, that's going to be everything for me today in this video. Hopefully my article and explaining what this company does and why it's kind of being strangled right now. And you might find some opportunity in it, right? This might be one of the next hot stocks for the next week or two. I'm glad that I got in already. I've already defined my risk. I'm not out here trying to break the bank. That's not what I do around this channel. We're all, risk management focused more than anything, but finding good opportunity and taking it when it shows up. So that's going to be everything for me. I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.